All right, so today we're diving into this idea of putting your business on autopilot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a dream, right? Like being able to step back without everything just falling apart.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, escaping to a beach somewhere, it's about building a business that can actually thrive even when you're not constantly putting out fires.
Exactly. Yeah. Creating a business that gives you freedom, not one that like chains you to your desk,
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of get stuck in what I call this like self-employment trap,
Hmm.
where they accidentally create a job for themselves instead of a real business.
Yeah.
And they're the superhero,
Mm.
always saving the day, but it burns them out and
Right.
it limits their growth.
It's like you're tethered to the business, you're always reacting
Yeah.
instead of thinking strategically.
Right.
So how do we break free from that?
I think the key is building a team
Okay.
that you can truly trust. And I don't just mean finding people who are competent,
Right.
but finding people who are truly committed to your vision,
Yeah.
people who share your values,
Yeah.
and are dedicated to seeing your business succeed.
That makes sense.
Mm.
You can't build a sustainable business if you're the only one who can do everything.
Right.
But how do you actually find those people?
Well, I think when you're interviewing, don't just focus on skills.
Go.
I think you need to dig deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ask questions that reveal their work ethic,
Yeah.
their passion, and how they align with your company culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you could ask them about, a time that they went above and beyond for a project, or how they handle disagreements within a team.
Okay, so you've built your dream team, but you can't just like throw them in the deep end, right? You need systems.
Absolutely. Systems are the backbone of any successful business.
Yeah.
But I think there's this misconception that systems have to be super complicated and expensive.
Yeah.
You don't need fancy software or consultants to get started.
So where do you even begin? What does a simple system look like?
You can start with something as basic as pen and paper. Like, think about your daily tasks and write down the steps involved in each one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great way to start identifying areas where you can create clear, repeatable processes.
Right.
Even a simple checklist can make a huge difference.
I love that. Yeah. Keep it simple, make it work, and then you can always refine and automate as you grow.
Absolutely.
Speaking of automation, are there certain areas where that can be especially impactful?
One area where automation can be a game changer is marketing.
Okay.
Imagine having a system where every time someone signs up for your email list,
Right.
they automatically receive a welcome sequence that introduces them to your brand and your products.
Yeah.
That's the power of email marketing automation.
It sounds like a great way to stay top of mind with potential customers without constantly having to manually send emails.
Right.
Are there other marketing tools that small businesses should consider?
Social media scheduling tools are another great option.
Okay.
They let you plan out your social media posts in advance so you can save a ton of time
Right.
and ensure a consistent online presence.
So we've got systems for marketing, but what about managing all the tasks and projects within the business itself?
Yeah,
It can feel overwhelming, especially when you're juggling multiple clients or projects.
absolutely. That's where project management tools come in.
Okay.
Think of them as a central hub for all your projects and tasks.
Mm,
They help you break down large projects into smaller, more manageable steps.
okay.
Assign tasks to team members and track progress.
Right.
That way nothing falls through the cracks.
It sounds like a great way to stay organized and on top of deadlines.
Yeah.
Are there any specific features that small businesses should look for in a project management tool?
I think one essential feature is the ability to collaborate effectively.
Okay.
You want a tool that allows your team to easily communicate,
Yeah.
share files,
Uh-huh.
and provide updates all within that platform.
Yeah.
This keeps everyone on the same page and eliminates those endless email chains.
So we've covered systems for marketing, project management. What about sales? How can you build a system that helps you close more deals without being pushy or feeling sleazy?
That's where a sales CRM comes in.
Okay.
A CRM helps you track your interactions with potential customers, manage your sales pipeline, and automate follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is to use it to build relationships and provide value, not just to blast people with sales pitches.
It seems like the common thread here is building systems that make things easier for both you and your customers.
Exactly. The goal is to create systems that streamline your operations, free up your time,
Right.
and ultimately deliver a better experience for your customers.
Okay, so we've got a basic understanding now of some of the tools and systems that can help us work smarter, not harder.
Right.
But how do we actually put all of this into practice.
Yeah.
Where do we even start?
Well, I think one of the most effective ways to bring clarity to your business and identify areas for improvement is through process mapping.
Okay, process mapping. I've heard the term, but I'll admit I'm not entirely sure what it entails.
Yeah, so imagine you're making a recipe. You wouldn't just throw all the ingredients in a bowl and hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
You would follow a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
Process mapping is essentially creating a recipe for your business.
Okay.
It helps you visualize every step involved in a particular process from start to finish.
So how do we actually create a process map? Do we need special software or something?
You can start simple.
Mm-hmm.
A whiteboard or even just a piece of paper works perfectly.
Okay.
Choose a process you want to map out, maybe something like fulfilling an order or onboarding a new client.
Mm-hmm.
Then simply write down each step involved in that process.
And by breaking it down into those individual steps, we can start to see where things can be improved, streamlined, or even automated.
Exactly. You might realize that there are redundant steps or bottlenecks or areas where things could be simplified.
Yeah.
Process mapping helps you identify those areas for improvement.
I'm starting to see how this all ties together. Building a team, creating systems, and using tools like process mapping all work together to create more efficient and ultimately more profitable business.
Absolutely.
But I imagine it can feel overwhelming to think about tackling all of this at once.
You're absolutely right. Don't try to do everything at once.
Okay.
Choose one area of business to focus on and start with a small, manageable process.
So maybe instead of trying to map out your entire sales process, you could start by mapping out a specific part of it,
Right.
like how you qualify a lead.
Exactly. And you can then use that process map to create a checklist or a simple workflow that your team can follow.
Right.
As you get comfortable with the process, you can gradually expand to other areas of your business.
It's all about starting small and building that momentum.
Right.
Speaking of building momentum, what's next?
Yeah.
Once we've mapped out our processes, what steps can we take to actually implement these changes and start automating things?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our process maps, we've identified these areas for improvement, and we're ready to start automating. Where do we go from here?
I think this is where those specific tools we discussed earlier really come into play.
Right.
You know, let's say you've mapped out your customer onboarding process and you've realized there are a lot of repetitive emails involved.
Right.
So instead of manually sending each email, you can use an email marketing tool to automate that entire sequence.
So a new client signs up, and they automatically receive a series of emails welcoming them, providing helpful resources, and kind of guiding them through those next steps.
Exactly. You set it up once, and it runs in the background, saving you a ton of time and ensuring a consistent experience for every new client.
It sounds amazing, like having a virtual assistant handling those tasks for you.
Right.
What about project management? How can we use those tools to streamline things?
Let's say you're working on a big website redesign project.
Okay.
And you've got designers, developers, content writers all working together.
Yeah.
A project management tool can be your central command center for this project.
I'm picturing like a virtual whiteboard where everyone can see what needs to be done, who's responsible, and when those tasks are due.
That's a great analogy. It's about creating transparency and accountability. You can break down the project into smaller tasks, assign them to team members,
Right.
set deadlines, and track progress all within that tool.
So no more like scrambling to remember who's doing what or chasing people down for updates. It's all right there on the platform,
Exactly.
which I can see how that would save a ton of time and stress.
And remember those checklists we talked about?
Yeah.
A lot of project management tools allow you to create checklists within those tasks.
Right.
So it ensures that every step is completed and nothing gets overlooked.
Okay, so we're managing projects like pros, our onboarding is running smoothly, our marketing's automated. What about sales?
Yeah.
Where does a sales CRM fit into all of this?
A CRM helps you manage your sales pipeline and build stronger relationships with potential customers.
Okay.
So let's say you meet a potential client at a networking event. You can enter their information into your CRM, track your conversations, set reminders to follow up,
Right.
and even see a history of their interactions with your business.
So instead of relying on like sticky notes or trying to remember everything off the top of your head, it's all organized in one central location.
Exactly. And many CRMs integrate with other tools like your email marketing platform or your calendar.
Wow.
So you can manage everything from one place.
It sounds like these tools can really help us streamline our operations and free up our time to focus on that bigger picture.
Right.
But I imagine choosing the right tools can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's so many options out there.
You're right. It is important to choose tools that fit your specific needs and budget.
Okay.
So don't just jump on the bandwagon of the latest trendy app.
Right.
Take some time to research your options, read reviews, and even try out free trials before committing to a paid plan.
Makes sense. It's about finding the tools that work best for you, not necessarily the ones with the most bells and whistles. Speaking of finding what works, let's talk about delegation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with this.
Yeah,
Letting go of control.
right.
It can feel really scary to hand over those tasks to someone else.
Delegation is essential if you want to free up your time and scale your business.
Right.
But it's not just about dumping tasks on someone else.
Yeah.
It's about empowering your team to do their best work.
So how do we delegate effectively? How do we ensure things are done correctly without micromanaging every step?
Well, it starts with clear communication.
Okay.
When you delegate a task, clearly explain what needs to be done, why it's important, and what the desired outcome is.
Okay.
Provide any necessary resources or training, and set clear expectations for deadlines and communication.
I imagine having those documented processes we talked about earlier would be incredibly helpful here.
Absolutely. When you have clear step-by-step instructions,
Yeah.
it makes delegation so much easier.
Right.
And don't forget to provide ongoing support and feedback.
Check in with your team members, answer their questions, and offer guidance as needed.
It's about building that trust and giving your team the confidence to succeed.
Exactly. And remember, delegation is a process. It takes time to find the right balance and build that trust.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to make adjustments along the way.
Okay, so we've delegated tasks, we've automated processes, and we're feeling good.
Yeah.
But what happens when things inevitably go wrong?
Right.
No system is perfect, and there will be those bumps in the road.
You're absolutely right. Mistakes will happen.
Yeah.
The key is to view those mistakes as opportunities for learning and improvement.
So instead of getting frustrated or blaming ourselves or our team, we should use those moments as a chance to analyze what happened,
Right.
identify the root cause, and make adjustments to prevent it from happening again.
Exactly. One helpful strategy is to create what's called a mistake log,
Okay.
where you document any errors that occur.
Mm-hmm.
Write down what happened, why it happened, and what steps you can take to prevent it from happening again. It's about turning those oh no moments into aha moments.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about fixing the immediate problem.
Right.
It's about using those experiences to continuously improve your systems
Yeah.
and make them more robust over time.
This all makes so much sense. But I think there's sometimes like a mental hurdle
Yeah.
when it comes to putting these systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel like a lot of work up front,
Yeah.
especially when you're already so busy running a business.
I understand that feeling, but think of it this way.
Yeah.
The work you put into building systems now will save you countless hours in the long run.
Right.
It's an investment in your business,
Yeah.
your sanity, and your future.
It's like taking the time to sharpen your axe before you chop down the tree.
Exactly.
It might seem like extra work, but it makes the whole process so much easier and more efficient.
Right. And as your business grows, those systems become even more valuable.
Yeah.
They allow you to scale your operations without getting bogged down in the day-to-day details.
It's about creating a business that works for you, not the other way around.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this part of our conversation, what are some key takeaways our listeners can implement to start putting their business on autopilot?
Okay.
So we've covered a lot, from building a team to like mapping out our processes and embracing automation.
Right.
But where do we actually go from here? Like, what are some practical steps listeners can take to actually implement these ideas?
Yeah, I think it all starts with taking that first step.
Okay.
So pick one area of your business, that feels particularly chaotic or time-consuming. Maybe it's your email inbox or your client onboarding process or your social media marketing.
Right.
Once you've chosen that area, take some time to really analyze the current process.
Okay.
What are the steps involved? Where are the bottlenecks?
Right.
What can be simplified or automated?
And this is where that process mapping technique we talked about comes in handy.
Exactly.
By visualizing those steps, we can start to see where those opportunities for improvement lie.
Right. And don't be afraid to get creative. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah.
Experiment with different tools and approaches to find what works best for your business.
So if we're struggling with managing our social media, we could try out a scheduling tool.
Right.
See if that helps us stay more consistent.
Exactly.
Or if we're drowning in emails, We could explore different email marketing platforms
Right.
to see if they offer automation features that could help
Exactly.
streamline our communication.
It's about finding the tools and systems that fit your specific needs and help you achieve your goals. And remember, it's an ongoing journey.
Okay.
You know, your business is constantly evolving,
Right.
so your systems need to evolve with it.
So it's not about, like, creating the perfect system and then just never touching it again.
Right.
It's about constantly evaluating, refining, improving.
Exactly. Make it a habit to regularly review your systems.
Mm.
Are they still serving you? Do they need to be tweaked?
Right.
Or are there entirely new systems that need to be created?
And don't forget to get feedback from your team.
Absolutely.
They're the ones on the front lines, so they often have really valuable insights into what's working and what could be improved.
Create a culture of open communication where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and suggestions.
Right.
This not only makes your systems better, but also fosters a sense of ownership and teamwork.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to remember?
I think, you know, building a business that runs on autopilot is not about setting it and forgetting it. It's about intentionally designing systems that support your growth, free up your time,
Yeah.
and allow you to focus on what you do best.
It's about creating a business that gives you that freedom and flexibility, not one that keeps you chained to your desk.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
So start small, experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from your mistakes and celebrate your successes along the way.
Great advice. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.